so today we got an 87 Toyota pickup with a 1UZ under the hood. This thing is a 4-liter V8 that came in a bunch of Lexus sedans and a bunch of JDM cars over in Japan. So let's talk to the owner and find out more about this.
What's up? My name is Brian. This is my 87 Toyota pickup with the 1UZ swap, and you're watching East Coast Garage.
So yeah, man, this thing fits very well in here, surprisingly, because it's such a small truck.
The 1U just barely fits. From my experience, the only exhaust manifolds that will fit came off of the SC400. No other exhaust manifolds will clear the upper control arm or the steering rod.
And I like to see people keep these old Toyotas in the family too. That's the cool part about it. It'd still be cool if it had LS in it,
right?
But you couldn't put powered by Lexus on the firewall, you know?
Yeah, that's correct.
And the Lexus emblem here, I mean, like, it definitely adds a whole new type of relationship to the vehicle, you know?
1UZ everything.
Nice. Not for us.
Not for us.
Close. Not close. So tell me about the swap. How easy was it, or how hard was it?
So I did, this is not the first iteration. I had a first gen 1UZ in here that I did back in 2012. Actually, I started in 2010. At that time, there was no information on how to do this swap when I did it. When I bought this truck, it had a turbo 22R in it. It was okay. I saw a video on YouTube where someone shot with a flip phone of an 87 Toyota pickup with the 1UZ running in it.
Oh, nice.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Once I saw that it fit, I went to the junkyard, grabbed one, and stuffed it in here.
Nice.
It was a learning curve. Had to find the correct exhaust manifold.
Right.
Had to find the correct oil pan through trial and error, the correct radiator. Just luckily I have a junkyard near me. I can go to the junkyard, get a part, bring it home. If it fit, I kept it. If it didn't, took it back and got my money back.
Yeah.
So junkyard helped me build this truck.
How was the wiring for this swap?
The wiring is surprisingly easy. If you know how to wire in an aftermarket stereo into an older car, you should be able to wire up a 1UZ. With about 15 wires to get the motor to run. VVTi motors are almost the same.
That VVTi is nice too. With
the VVTi.
Yeah.
There is a big difference. So people ask me which one to go with. And people say non-VVTi because the bigger rods, and they take boost better. Be realistic about your build. It's not easy to do a 1UZ swap from the beginning. So if you do that, do you really have it in you to then turbocharge it?
Yeah.
If you realistically are not going to turbocharge it, go with the VVTi version, that 50 more horsepower, and you will feel it. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
If you're really going to turbocharge it, then go ahead and get the non-VVTi. 50 less horsepower, but you can boost it.
The first gen.
Yeah, first gen. Yeah, non-VVTi.
Because the second gen non-VVTi didn't have those rods. Correct?
Right. They started making the rods a little smaller.
Yeah.
From 95 and 97.
Gotcha.
And then they got even thinner with the VVTi. And I think the 2UZ has even thinner rods, even though it's a bigger motor.
Where'd this radiator come out of?
This radiator came out of a 93 Turbo MR2.
No kidding. I see you have the oil filter relocation kit too.
Yeah, on this truck, because the oil filter would be so close to the steering gearbox, you would have to relocate it. I have a Tacoma brake booster on here because the factory, the original one, is larger in diameter and will not clear the valve cover.
Okay. And were you able to retain the power steering?
Yeah, retain the power steering.
Nice.
And I found out that the power steering lines from a V6 4Runner, early model, 90s model, will bolt right up to the 1UZ power steering pump and will go on like factory, so it sit like factory. The 1UZ, super smooth motor. Every swap that I've done with the 1UZ, I've always used solid mounts, mainly because I like to tuck my exhaust as tight against the chassis as possible. And I don't want the motor to move, causing the exhaust to hit the bottom of the chassis.
Right.
So I always use solid mounts, no rubber, tuck the exhaust real tight, and it's surprisingly smooth. You won't feel any vibration for the most part. What I wanted to do was have my intake, originally with the 1UZ, first gen, the intake throttle body is on the passenger side.
Right.
So originally I had to, since the intake had to be on that side, I had to move the battery. So I found out a Honda Civic battery, a 1992 Honda Civic battery and battery tray. I wound up bolting here so my intake can be here. Nice. Now, of course, with the 1UZ in the front facing, you could put it either side. But since I already had the battery mounted here from the previous swap, I just kept it over there.
And I love the sound of the 1UZ, man. It's been a while since I was in a car with the 1UZ. And they just sound so cool, man. They're different.
Right, and that's one thing that I love about it. The V8 power, I used to play around with 4 cylinders a lot with my Corollas.
Yeah.
1.8, 1.6 liters. But once I got bit by the 1UZ bug, I'll never go back.
Do you know how much these trucks weigh?
2,400 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Man, it hooks so good for a light pickup. There's no weight on the back, no wheel hop. It plants it down.
Plants it down, but don't drive it in the rain.
Yeah.
No rain driving.
Yeah. And these are 285s?
285 35.
Yeah. That's a pretty good amount of rubber.
Yeah, I mean the back wheels are 18 by 11s with a 20 millimeter offset, and the front are 18 by 9.5 with a 20 millimeter offset.
Man, this thing rides so smooth, man. I love it.
The stab fab front suspension made a world of a difference.
I bet.
And then adding the QA1s with adjustable dampening really helped the rear.
And I see this ladder bar right here. What's going on with the rear suspension?
So initially I had a little bit of wheel hop.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to try, I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube where Caltrax makes a traction bar that would help at least plant both tires, even on open diff.
Gotcha.
I looked at the Caltrax website and they have the standard Ford, Chevy, Dodge applications, but nothing for Toyota, at least this generation. You send in measurements, they'll make a custom one for you. I didn't want to spend that money only to find out I needed to modify when I got it home. So I made my own.
Nice.
And I just copied their design, I made them, and they work. Now cornering, they're no good for cornering. But from a launch,
Well, speaking about cornering, what do you have for sway bar back here?
The sway bar came off of a early 80s motorhome, Toyota motorhome.
No kidding. Yeah. So that's crazy. What about shocks?
So I have QA1, I think they're 21-way adjustable shocks on the rear.
Yeah.
And for the rear, factory, they're staggered where passenger side shock is behind the axle, and on the driver's side, the shock is in front of the axle. But that was gonna affect my dual exhaust setup. So I moved the driver's side from in front of the axle to the back. So both shocks are now in the rear.
Nice.
And gave me clearance for my exhaust.
I see you got some tubular upper control arms too.
Yeah, upper control arms and the coilover conversion kit came from Stab Fab, a guy in California that's starting to make nice suspension parts for these early trucks.
I wish that everyone watching this video could ride in this truck because it is so smooth. I'm just blown away by the ride quality. It's so comfortable. I mean, I'd road trip the hell out of this thing if I had it. And it stops good too with the brake upgrades.
Yeah, the brakes are good. I'm confident in driving this just as hard and driving it anywhere. The rear brake is the front caliper from a 1996 4Runner.
Okay.
So it's a 4-piston caliper adapted to the back, and the rotor from a 2001 Ford Explorer. So on the front, it's a 1991 Nissan 300ZX caliper, which bolts right up to the spindle. Nice. And the rotor is from a 1995 Mazda MPV.
I like a lowered mini truck as is.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find a lot of those good builds nowadays. I mean, if you go back to the 90s, you know, they were everywhere. I really like the GR emblem.
Mm-hmm.
I like the custom LED headlights. The little chin spoiler ground effect here.
Right.
That's not factory, is it?
No, the valance came off a first gen Honda Passport.
Honda Passport?
Yeah, Honda Passport.
Wow.
Perfect width. All I had to do was make mounting tabs on the factory bumper
Okay.
to get that to work. People like the grill. This is an eBay grill.
All right.
TRD Pro style for the 4Runner, but it bolts right up to the same generation truck.
And do these lights work?
Yeah, the lights do
Oh,
work.
that's cool, man.
I hit them up with smoked out paint to
Yeah.
kind of tone it down. Didn't want a whole lot of orange in the front.
Right.
Yeah, so they do
That's
light
cool,
up.
man.
And JDM corner lights.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
JDM corner lights.
Nice. And then the hood louvers, man, these things look great.
Yeah, it's functional. It's to let a little more heat
Yeah.
out. These 1UZs shed a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And the one thing on the 1UZ, if you have a lot of underhood heat and your intake is drawing that in, it will drop performance.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
initially, I put the hood vents here to draw that heat out, and then I also modified my intake pad to draw in more fresh air. But it is functional. It doesn't let out excessive heat.
Nice. I like the wide body fenders here too.
I wanted to put as wide a tire and wheel setup as I could on the truck. This was originally a two-wheel drive truck, so the fenders were flat. They didn't stick out any more than the door. So the back is actually a front driver and passenger side flare.
Okay.
From the front fender. I cut the flare out,
Like right
cut
here.
it in half,
Yeah.
butt welded it together back to back, and
Okay.
bolted it up. It's one of those things I was looking at for a long time. I initially pulled the bed fender to clear the tires.
Yeah.
It didn't look good.
Right.
And this is something I wanted to do for years. And just luckily at my local junkyard, 2 4Runners showed up in the junkyard and they both had the front fenders on it.
Nice.
And I got the fender for $10 each. And I said, let me cut these up and make my flares. And it worked out.
I really like the stripes on the wheels, man. It definitely adds the TRD flavor. You know, you got the TRD grill, TRD stripes, wide body. What about this little wing right here?
So that wing came off of a Scion XB, the van that looks like a toaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
The toaster car.
Yep. And eBay once again came through. It was $75.
Nice.
I test fitted it. Perfect width. All I had to do was massage the way it mounts to the cab.
Wow, this thing has so much character because of, I mean, so many different vehicles these parts lived on. You know, now it's all in a Frankenstein build, pretty much.
Exactly. You know? The frames on these, most of the time you can find them in good shape. The cabs, they wind up rusting out. And a lot of times what'll happen is they'll rust around the windshield, or at least water will get past the windshield because the adhesive will fail. Water will collect on the floor will rot out, and sometimes if the windshield had been replaced several times and they scratch that channel, you'll form rust in the windshield channel and it'll rot out around there. After a snow that we had, the truck was covered in snow. I came into the truck to start it just to make sure the battery wasn't dead, and I had an inch of water in the floor.
Oh no.
And I looked up and water was, as the snow melted, water was coming in the top of the windshield. And I reached and pushed from the inside the windshield, and I could actually push it out about an inch.
Oh,
and
no.
then I looked and the skin of the roof was separated.
Wow.
So I looked for a cab. It took me about 2 years. I actually almost gave up and was looking for a Tacoma and found a new, well, not a new cab, but a used cab on Marketplace, $200. It was an hour and a half away. Got my trailer, went and picked it up, and it was clean. So I haven't had any issues with this cab at all. It's a great cab.
Any plans for it in the future?
Only thing next would be I have a CD09 6-speed.
Yeah.
And I went on ahead and splurged and bought the sequential shifter from S1 Sequential. I think the 6-speed will complement the ring and pinion that I have in here now because it's a tall gear.
Which transmission is in it now?
Right now it's a W58 from a 1984 Toyota Celica. So the Celica originally had the 22R in it, the four cylinder.
Yeah.
People like to say that the W58 from the Mark III Supra is the stronger motor and people charge a premium for it. To me, the W58, even from the earlier ones, are just as good. This W58's been in this truck since 2012 with my first 1UZ swap, and it's never given me a problem.
Nice.
The main thing is keep oil in it, replace the front and rear seal so the oil doesn't leak out. Do not do a solid disc clutch in it. Make sure your clutch is sprung, and never do 5,000, 6,000 RPM clutch dumps. Any transmission will die after multiple clutch dumps.
Yeah, a lot of transmissions just don't like that.
They just don't like it.
For some reason.
Right.
No.
So, and the W58 will hold up. Just, you know, respect what you're driving. If you try to destroy it, you will.
Where can people find you on social media?
You can go on Instagram and search YotaRIP, YotaRIP, and I also have a YouTube channel, which is also YotaRIP.
He does a lot of documenting on this build and going through, you know, some of the process. So definitely go check that out. I mean, I'd do it in a heartbeat if I had one of these. I almost want to buy one now. I'm excited after riding it, dude. So definitely thank you for coming out today to be a part of this video.
All right, no problem, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. And thank you all for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.